Well, welcome to Wisdom Wednesday, and have I got some wisdom for you today. I love these little parts where you can put wire on a window and to make it look even more interesting.
Hey, there's no wire on that window.
So today we're going to learn how to make little raindrops coming down in front of this umbrella. So we have Dallin here. This is his window, and he is going to be taught by David. So we're going to do a little switcheroo, and I'm going to be behind the camera for a while David shows Dallin how to do this.
Okay, so here's what I'm doing. We're going to use regular household wire. This is Romex. And this is the stuff that they use for the circuits that go to the lights. It doesn't carry much power. This is a heavier gauge. I don't remember what its actual gauge is, but it's a lot heavier and it's much more difficult to bend. So you could use this if you wanted to. Now this is just, I've pulled out the what do you call it, the ground wire, which is not covered up except for a piece of paper. Now this, you can buy, this is 14 gauge wire, and I think this Romex is 14 gauge as well. And this is 18 gauge wire. Now the difference between 18 gauge and 14 gauge is that it has to do with how many of the little pieces of wire would fit in a 1-inch hole. So if you drilled a 1-inch hole, I think it's a 1-inch, 18 of them would fit if it's 18 gauge, and 14 of them would fit if it's 14 gauge. Isn't that funny?
That is funny.
But that's how you can tell if it's bigger or smaller. 18 gauge is actually smaller than 14, even though the number is bigger. So all right, so we're going to do this, and so go ahead and pull that. That's long enough for one of your wires, and then I'm going to pull this. Now one of the things that you want to be careful with when you're selecting wire for a project is if you just go to the hardware store and buy some, you're likely to get some that has been lacquered. Well, lacquered wire doesn't work because it's got a coating of lacquer, and so that coating keeps you from being able to solder the wire. But now with this, I'm just going to take and I'm going to take my wire strippers. I think I need to go a little. Because we need I think we need 4 pieces altogether. So we strip off the insulation. Now, before I got into stained glass, I worked as I did, my art form was metal sculpture. And the first metal sculpture I ever made was out of copper, and I bent it around and I soldered the pieces together. And it was a peace symbol. It looked about like that. And it was about that size. It was a little bit bigger than a hand. But so anyhow, there's one. If you want to, do you want to try pulling the?
Sure.
All right, and you kind of have to, and you want to use the pliers on one end and.
Okay.
To hold it, and you don't want to, try not to kink it anyhow. And then let's see, this is the fat stuff, so I want another one of these.
Yeah, good.
All right, it's like you know what you're doing.
This piece is a little long.
Uncle Al, I'm very proud of you.
Okay. And on this one, you can just pull the ground wire out. And I think that'll be all we need. Hoo-hoo-hoo. Very good. Okay, now we're ready to put them on your window. So now this is the front of your window, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now let's see. You see up there, we've got 2 wires that have raindrops on them
Uh-huh.
and 2 wires that are straight. You see that?
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
So let me just do the first raindrop wire. And we just, use the needle nose pliers to bend it around. And then we want to get it just about as, kind of straighten it out. Okay, now, see, that really does look like a raindrop flopping past an umbrella. And Jeannie, if you'll hand me those cutters. Then, does that look okay to you?
Yeah. Looks
All
great.
right, okay. All right, so now, thank you. Then what I do is I run some flux on the whole thing.
So why is it that you didn't tin it first? Could you have?
Is cuz a good enough reason?
This is an instructional video.
Just cuz.
So it could be done both ways then.
Yeah, and also there have been times where I've gone ahead and I filled in the raindrop with solder, but I think that's too dangerous because we might create a heat spot and we don't want to crack your glass. Okay, so that one was the first of the 2, and then you have one that you want that's just going to be a straight a straight one. And I think it's better to go a raindrop, a straight wire, a raindrop, and then another straight wire. And then on the one with the straight wire, you do want to tin it first.
And tinning means that you just put a thin covering of solder over the wire.
Now, do you see how that little place kind of got a bit of a drip on it? And that's how you kind of make it look like it's rain coming off of it. Okay. So then we can just kind of put it in place, and then I'm gonna clip the end. I'm not sure that I like that one. Maybe I'll see if I can.
Would it do any good to turn down the iron during this process?
No,
Just have to be careful.
it doesn't matter. And you'll notice that as it heats it up, it kind of deflects the wire a little bit, and so it does make it a little bendy. That's one reason why you want to start with a really flat wire at first. And you kind of want the wires to be in the same direction, because, you know, if you had it like this, that wouldn't look like, I mean, hey, which way is that rain falling? That way or that way, you know, so we put it there, and then, you know, of course, you can flux it here, Dallin, and tack it. And so, and now I'm going to let you do the rest of it, so you don't feel like I'm doing your project for you.
Moment of truth. See what good teacher David was.
Oh no. Yeah, those are some good colors. Really like them.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that
Okay.
the red
Looks like that
corners
worked.
go down.
There we go.
Yeah, yeah. And the pastels of the background and the flower and the leaves themselves. Yeah, that sort of kind of balances out that space a little more, I think. And on this one, try to just add, don't even add any solder. See what happens if you just melt the solder that's already there on the umbrella. See if that stays cleaner for you. Oh yeah, that'll look good.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yep. Okay, cool. Here, the place where you just put a little of that on your finger where you.
Thank you.
If anything, it'll just smell different.
Sound good, yeah.
Oh yeah, I've been medicated.
Okay, very nice. So now it looks like there's rain coming down off of that umbrella. Did a great job. So that's one way to make wire embellish your window.
Here, let me see this.
Okay. So thanks for joining us for this part of putting wire on your windows, and we've got more to come on that.
Here's another way you can use a wire decoratively. You see here on this design, I've got this kite tail has some little bows. So I thought you might be interested in seeing how I make those bows, and it's really quite easy. I take my needle nose pliers and I bend it around, and then I grab it over here. Let's see. And I bend it again. So there's the first part of my bow. It's not really as sharp as I like it, so I'm going to bend it forward and back a bit. And then I just grab it and bend it. I grab it and bend it. Snip that off. And you can see, then you can just, first I tin it and then I place it down on the piece and just solder it right in place. And that's how I get that decorative piece. Now another thing, here in the inset you can see this unicorn. Now first of all, let's zoom up here to the horn. You see the horn has got, it's about this long, and it's supposed to be, well, originally we were just going to cut all these little pieces and solder them together, but instead of doing that, I've got wire placed in from one side to the other, and I curve each one as I solder them in place, and that gives us the look that we're looking for. And now we're going to zoom over here to the flower on the unicorn's body, and you see, instead of trying to fiddle around with a bunch of little pieces, we've taken a wire and formed a flower and adhered it onto the piece, and that really gives you all the detail you want, but you're not having to do impossible cuts and impossible solder joints and all that. So now those are a couple of the things that you can do with wire to make your windows more decorative and get your pattern to be more interesting. Also, you can use wire to make little hangers and such, but I find that I like using jump rings much better. Now sometimes I'll be doing one that's a window that needs extra support. And what I'll do on that is make one that comes over, goes up and around, and then over, and I solder that on, and then I have another wire that goes down into the solder joint itself and comes up and goes around, and there you can see that on the inset as well.
So join us next time on Wisdom Wednesday.